And hello, everyone. Welcome to another Mysterious Galaxy virtual event. I am Nick, the digital marketer and director of events for the store. Tonight, we have a wonderful event. We have two wonderful authors here with us. We have Meg Long with her debut novel, Cold the Night, Fast the Wolves. I have to make, there we go. We're triplets here.
Oh my god, we're in a club.
No one else is invited. Except for Tiffany.
Invited.
Tiffany, you're invited.
Yeah.
And in conversation, we have, of course, author of Iron Widow. I'm going to say it slowly so I make sure I get it right. Xiran Jay Zhao.
Yeah.
Yes. #1 New York Times bestseller of Iron Widow series. And the Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor. Oh, look at you, Meg. You got the book. Oh, good job.
Come on.
Oh my god, I think I forgot my own book, but you know what? Like, it's fine.
Meg got you. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
I got you.
So for everyone who is joining in tonight, Cold the Night, Fast the Wolves is a captivating story about survival, found family, and the bond between a girl and a wolf that delivers a fresh twist on classic survival stories and frontier myths. Excellent. So if you haven't already, you'll notice there's a green button below that says buy books and get signed book plates. That's because both Xiran and Meg, they're offering signed and personalized, I should say, book plates if you get either one of their books. That is awesome. And if you haven't already, notice there's also a link below that says ask a question. If you have any questions that you want to ask either authors, go ahead and post them there instead of the comments section. All right. So I'm going to pop out of here and leave it to these wonderful people to go ahead and discuss. I'll see y'all later, okay?
Hi, Nick.
Bye. All right. Hello, man.
Hello.
Your book is finally out. Oh my god.
It's been a long time.
I know,
coming.
right? How are you feeling? Is it like registering in you? Is it in your head? I mean, does it feel surreal?
It's super weird. I think the weirdest part is like when I get tagged or somebody sends me a picture of them buying the book like in a different store, like not in my state or in my city. It's like, oh, it's like out there in the world and not just, in my room or in my bookstore.
Oh my god.
Pretty crazy.
Have you gotten a chance to like go around and see your book in bookstores? Or are you not doing that?
I want to, but I have not had time yet. My real job decided it was going to be really important this week. So
this week? Oh my god, no, not this week.
I've been doing many things.
Okay.
But this weekend, I'm going to hit up all the bookstores and take pictures and freak out.
Oh my god. Okay, I tell you, the #1 most fun thing to do after you become a published author is just that whenever you hit up a mall, whenever you're just like in the vicinity of a bookstore, you can just pop in and be like, hello, I'm an author and I'm here to sign. Like, it's so fun. Every time I go to a mall now, I'm like, okay, yeah, I could go hit the bookstore and surprise them.
That's awesome. Yeah. Something to look forward to.
And I hope you get to experience that feeling of, because I know on my launch day, I got to go to my local bookstore, and then I saw people like carrying my book, and then it was super awkward for me because I was like, do I say hi to them? Do they want me to say hi to them? What do I do? Am I just like, hello, I wrote that book? So yeah, it is a very, very surreal feeling, but it's super fun to just like, just pop in and sign. You get to do that forever. It's great.
I'm definitely putting that on my list. But yeah, I had an in-store launch on Tuesday, so it was pretty cool. There was other people there, and I was with Leslie Vedder, who wrote The Bone Spindle, which is also fantastic. If anybody's looking for like a gender swap Indiana Jones meets Sleeping Beauty, it's fantastic. So we had a great time.
Oh my god, and you both had such nice covers.
I haven't got mine in the mail yet from Leslie's bookstore, so I can't hold it up.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, but
definitely winning on the covers.
Also, all right. Also, okay, to the audience, Meg and I actually met in a very unique way. We were both mentees during Pitch Wars 2018.
A long time ago.
We were both a long time ago. Actually, no, it doesn't even feel that long. But yeah, it was a long time ago, we were both mentees. And interestingly, we both did not get a book deal out of Pitch Wars. I know like people's impression of Pitch Wars is like that mentorship contest you enter and then you go in and then like agents fight over you and you get a gigantic book deal. But that did not happen to either of us. So we were both like,
nope.
But still, it was really, yeah, I definitely don't regret entering because I have learned stuff and like met people that I like, it definitely like, has benefited me so much. So I definitely do not regret entering.
Yeah, we've been friends since then and like been reading each other's stuff ever since 2018. So it's really awesome. I think that's the best part.
Yeah. And then we co-mentored Pitch Wars 2020, which was also super fun. Yeah. We read a lot of manuscripts and then it's fun being on the other end of things. Just be like, you act like we got to act like we were agents and just like going through.
It was hard. It was so hard. It was totally different being on the other end.
It is. But Meg, what would you recommend aspiring authors to enter these mentorship programs, and what do you think they should expect out of it? I mean, everybody expects the like gigantic book deals and agents, but like, what do you think that people should expect? Because like coming from us, we didn't get that, but we got other stuff. So what stuff did you get?
Right. Biggest lesson that I learned was just like perseverance and like how to revise, because I didn't really know how to, let's be honest, I didn't know how to write a book before Pitch Wars. I knew how to write a book. I didn't know how to make it better. And so Pitch Wars really taught me how to revise and how to revise on my own and learn like what my book needed to be better. So that was the biggest skill coming out of it. And then I wrote actually an adult mystery for Pitch Wars, and then when it didn't get picked up in the query trenches or anything or any agents, that is what prompted me to start writing back in YA, which was always my first love. And this book is the book that I wrote right after Pitch Wars. So, you know,
and you wrote it super fast.
Super fast.
How long did it take you?
Insane. I started writing it in April and I started querying it in July. So,
damn.
Really fast,
so
like 3
this
months.
just like came flowing out of your brain?
It did. It was just, I started like with the main idea and it just like took off.
Yeah. So, okay, really fun fact about this book. The idea for this actually came from a tweet. Meg, can you explain?
So in my writing chat, someone was following this Iditarod racer. Her name is Blair Braverman, and she like lives in Alaska. She's done a bunch of wilderness stuff, and she was racing in Iditarod, which is like the big sled dog race in Alaska. That's like 1,000 miles, and it takes like a week and a half. It's like in the wilderness, like truly. And she had this tweet story because she's also a writer. And it was this thread that sort of like took her on this, told this story of how she was like late at night on the trail with her dogs. And she started seeing something in the woods following her. And she like was worried it was like a demon. And her dog started like reacting to it. And it was like all black and really creepy. And so I was reading this tweet thread like, oh my God, what is it? Is it a demon? Like, what did she see out there in the woods? And then you get to the end and you find out it was just like a racer, like a runner in like a full body black suit. And he was like, hi. And then it was fine. But this whole image of this like girl in the woods, in the middle of the snow with her dogs, racing along this trail and being chased by a demon was like, it really stuck with me. And I was like, that would be a cool story. And that was the beginning of it.
Oh my God, did you keep screenshots of that moment?
Somebody posted them on Instagram the other day.
Oh.
So originally I wanted to make it a fantasy because I read a ton of fantasy, but I just couldn't find the right hook. Right? It was like, oh, there's a girl, and I was looking at like the Legend of Balto, where they have to like bring medicine to the village in Alaska, and I was like, I could do something with that in like a fantasy ice world. And it wasn't working. And so then one day I was like, what if I just made this sci-fi instead? And literally it wrote itself after that. And I mentioned it in my group chat. I'm like, what if it was sci-fi instead of fantasy? And there was an ice planet. And my friend Lissa screenshot it, posted it on Instagram like 3 days ago.
Oh my God.
I had forgotten.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, when the concept before Iron Widow popped into my head, I was discussing it with my friend Rebecca Schaefer, author of Not Even Bones, the trilogy, and right then I knew that book was gonna be like something. So I screenshot the conversation. I was like, yes, this is going to be a thing. I know that I'm gonna look back on this conversation like, oh my god, this was at the beginning, and it was the beginning. So that was
That's amazing.
yeah. So does the author of those tweets know about your book?
I've tagged her before, and actually a lot of my other friends have also tagged her, so maybe she knows. I'd like to send her one in the mail. Maybe Wednesday Books can make that happen.
Yeah, come on. I
Um,
mean,
come
that
on.
would be
But
so surreal. Just like, oh my god, my tweet thread gave birth to
yeah,
this.
it's super crazy because like so much of the book is taken from the Iditarod. Like the trail is really, I mean, I basically, this is why it was so easy to write because I was like, oh, look, here's a trail already created for me. They have like a bunch of hill section and then they go over this frozen lake and I used all of that. And so like I feel like for her to read it, she'd be like, this is super weird because I've like lived this.
Oh my god. But this book is super different from your previous books, isn't it?
It
Yeah,
is. I
because your
started writing
adult
YA.
mystery was so funny.
It's true. I also like humorous mysteries where the main
Mm.
character gets into a lot of embarrassing situations, which is very
Oh, I
light in
loved your
tone, but
adult mystery. But I also like this. It was so dramatic and it's so
it's
different.
very
Like, how did
gritty.
it feel to write something so different?
I feel like, I mean, obviously I have to take credit because I wrote it, but at the same time, like when I came up with this character and I figured out the first line is like, I'm not one to run from a fight. That was it. Senna was just there. She was like in my head. I didn't really have to like figure her out at all. She just existed and went off. And so it's kind of easy to write, even though it's very different than like my normal funny jokes, embarrassing scenes situations.
Yeah, but then it also does get super wholesome, and I was like, I was suffering in emotions when I was like about here.
It's true. A lot of people are not ready because like the beginning is not they think the whole book is the race, which unfortunately it's not for various character development reasons. But once it gets to the race, things just like go crazy.
Yeah.
But I used the same skill. So like in my mystery, I was always like, how can I make this more embarrassing for my characters? But in this book, it was like, how can I make this more difficult for them? Should I throw out some giant bears or maybe something breaks on their sled or they lose their food? Like, so it's kind of the same concept when I was writing. Make this worse.
So do you have any actual experience with like wolves and racing and that? Cause like there was a lot of like medicine, like what is it, zoology or some like vet stuff, veterinarian stuff in here that I was like, whoa, this like feels super realistic. Where did you come up with that?
I that it feels super realistic. I am not great at wilderness. I also, when I wrote this, I lived in Louisiana where there's no snow.
Yeah,
So,
that was gonna be my next question. Like, how much experience do you have with cold climates? Because I live in
not a lot.
Canada, and when I read this, I was like, oh shit, it feels like I'm right at home in Canada. So it's
Well,
amazing that you were able to write it while living in Louisiana.
it's funny. And during spring when it's hot there, I don't know. I did
Damn.
live overseas. I lived in Denmark when I was in college, so I definitely experienced like cold as you can get cold. So, but again, that was only for like a short time. I don't know. I just once it created this ice world, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make it like worse. It's gonna be like terrible and freezing, and there's gonna be a blizzard every day. And I hate the snow. Truly, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I know. Oh my god,
No,
it's
not good at snow.
completely amazing.
Yeah. And then all of the animal stuff was just a lot of research. And then asking, well, my sister has dogs, and then my best friends, I don't have dogs. I love dogs, so
Oh my god,
obviously
you don't
the
even
most
have
important
dogs, and you
reasons. No,
came up with
I didn't have any pets. I'm the worst.
oh
I
my
used to
god.
travel a lot, so it was hard to have pets. But I
Mm.
asked all my friends that have animals, like, please read this. Let me know if it feels authentic. I did so much research on like the Iditarod. I watched documentaries about like how to train sled dogs. I read books about them. Like that's all I did for 3 months was like eat, sleep, and breathe like snowy sled dogs.
Oh my
Wild.
god. And this is something that you mentioned when we were co-mentors during Pitch Wars, but you actually wrote Senna and Iska's relationship using like a romance structure. Like not that there's a human wolf romance, but like it's
No
structured
romance.
like yeah, there's no romance in this, but it's
No
structured like
romance
a
with the wolf.
yeah, but like you structured it using like romance, the plot beats that are
Beats.
common
Yeah,
to
the plot
romance.
beats.
Yeah,
Yes.
so they're
I
like
actually
antagonize. They are
Yes,
antagonistic toward each other
exactly.
at 1st. Hmm.
I had this conversation actually at my launch. Somebody asked about it, and it was brought up, and so I did take a romantic like beat arc, like where in this chapter the characters are pushed together in a situation and they kind of like come to a compromise, but then in the next chapter somebody does something that the other person finds offensive or whatever, and they go apart again. So I used that sort of beat sheet to develop their friendship, just friendship.
Yeah. No,
No
once you
romance.
mentioned that, I like thought back on the relationship and it was super fascinating because yeah, definitely they don't get along at first, but then they slowly it develops and then it crushes you.
It's also like if you've ever had like a new pet, it takes a while for you guys like to figure out like your vibe with this animal. And it's not like the animal can explain how they're feeling all the time. They're like, I'm mad that you did this, because no, they can't. You have to
Oh my
learn
god.
to figure them out. So it was
Yeah.
a fun challenge.
Yeah, like every day I would look at my cats and I'm just wondering what's going on in their head. Like the number one question in my life all the time now is like, why are you meowing? What do you want? You have been fed. I have played with you. What do you want? Why are you waiting at my door?
It's true. Every time that Senna does something that Iska the wolf disagrees with, she like huffs. And I know that anybody that's been around dogs have seen dogs when they do that. They're just like,
Oh my
and so
god.
that's like her number one reaction to Senna over here making dumb decisions.
Oh my god.
The wolf is probably smarter than my main character, let's be honest.
All right, so we are both big fans of anime. You're a huge Moonie. You love Sailor Moon, and I love like shonen stuff. I love like Yu-Gi-Oh and like Saint Seiya, Dragon Ball Z, and all that. But does this book have any anime influences?
I feel like directly with the story of the characters, not exactly, but with the world building, yes. Because I grew up on like really classic anime, like Vampire Hunter D, and oh my God, so many old like Ghost in the Shell, Akira, all that stuff was like my youth. When I was like 12 years
Oh,
old, they used to
so
show
like
that
that
stuff on the Sci-Fi
factored
Channel.
into your decision to make it a sci-fi.
Yes. That when
Okay.
I decided to make it sci-fi, it was just like all of these pieces that I had absorbed over time fell into place. And it was like, oh yes, it has to be this gritty sort of borderline cyberpunk city, but without all the neon and just all of this grittiness. Because I feel like in anime, they do so much more wild concepts than they do in a lot of Western media. You can go wild with stuff, just completely wild. And that's what I love about it so much.
Yeah, because the number one thing I learned from anime is just how to make just like things as dramatic as possible, how to just turn the dial up to 11.
It's true. It's
Yeah,
true.
what do
And
you
I
think that Western writers can learn from anime and Eastern storytelling in
so
general?
much. I mean, there's so many boundaries I feel like that we're bound like that are just controlling in Western media. Like it has to look like this, it has to be like this. But in anime and a lot of, Eastern mythology and stuff, it's wild. It can be whatever it wants to be. I mean, if you I know we've all watched that anime, we're like, what is happening right now? I have no idea what I'm watching, but I like it. That happens all the time. And so it's just like you can let your imagination be at its absolute weirdest in anime, and it's allowed, and I feel like it should be more allowed in books that we write here.
Definitely. Like Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh taught me how to just make things as dramatic as possible because like he would just do like 3 poses in order to press an enter button on a keyboard. And I'm like, nice. Like definitely
Nice.
it makes you feel the drama of every moment. It's like
Every
card
month.
game
Well,
anime. It's
Zutian
just
is
like
like,
it's just a card game, but they make it feel like if they make every card game feel like the end of the world, like the fate of the
that's
world
right.
depends on it. And it's just
It's true. Well, I
incredible.
mean, you captured that really well. That's one of my favorite parts about Iron Widow is how friggin' dramatic Zutian is when she like gets out of the mecha thing and she's just like, I'm here, nightmare. I just
I
love
know,
that
my
part. It's
god.
so great.
She could like stand up and it would take like one entire dramatic paragraph. Because
It's so great.
that's how she is.
It's so great. I love it.
All right.
I embrace all the weirdness.
I am actually curious about your querying process. So like can you
Okay.
describe that?
Sure. Like we talked about, I had my adult mystery that died in the query trenches. Although it's funny, like even sometimes a year after that, I would get like a random rejection from the industry. Gotta love it. But yeah, I got really lucky for a number of reasons. It was in July, so it was like before a lot, it was like at the end of the summer break. I feel like publishing takes summer breaks, even though they're not on summer
Yeah,
breaks. So it was like
they're
right
not
at the
even
end of
teachers.
they're, I don't, anyway. And it was interesting because I had one email from an agent, and then I sent out a bunch of like Hail Mary queries, and my agent responded. And it's funny because she had just finished watching Game of Thrones, where there's a bunch of the dire wolves in the end, and she had just been listening to an audiobook about like wolves in the wild. And so when my
Yeah.
came across her desk, she was like, I want this. And so she requested, and then literally like 3 days later, she had a call with me. And it was just like a lot of circumstantial things that worked out really well. But what got me, like, so that might have got me through the door, but what got me all the way to the finish line was just having a polished, like, dramatic manuscript. So it was an interesting querying. I've been querying off and on for years, and then to suddenly have it, it literally took me like a month when I first started querying to getting the offer, which
Yeah, I
was
remember
really
it
fast in
happening
publishing
super
time.
fast for you. And
Super
then
fast.
our books sold 1 week apart, I think.
Yep. Oh, that was some wild times. We were like messaging each other, like, oh, this is happening. Mine took a long time to get out in the world, but it's cool. It's cool. It's here now.
Yeah. And we sold back when things were, it was January 2020. And
Yep.
man, we had no idea what was coming.
No idea what was going to happen. Yeah,
I
it was
know,
kind of, I
right?
mean, we got
Did
lucky, I
we,
guess, because it was,
yeah. I forgot. Did we discuss COVID when we were, or were we just talking about books? Because I forgot.
no,
But it
I
was
think
all,
it
we
was
were
like,
on WeChat.
I think, I think it was, you had sold in like in mid to late January, and then I sold in early February. And like, we were just chatting about books. And then I think COVID hit, and we were both like,
Oh, yeah.
I guess we're still going forward. And that was in 2020. So like your book took it. I mean, a lot of people don't understand how long publishing takes. Like you maybe sell your book in January, February 2020. It doesn't come out for a whole nother year, or two in my case. So
Oh, yeah. No, 1 year is
it was
short
a
for
long time.
publishing. It's usually like at
Yeah,
least a year and a half.
right.
Yeah, so we were placed one season apart, which is still, yeah, it's not bad. It's our timelines
It
were
feels
both
like
like
a
not
long
that
time,
bad. It
but it's
does.
not
But
really.
also like it feels like a long time, but also it's also really sad that like we're still trapped home and it's not over.
It's not finished. Oh yeah. It's funny though, because when I sold, my editor was like, "We're gonna have you part of winter 2022," and I didn't know what that. I mean, who knows what publishing seasons are? They're all different depending on what your publisher is. And I was like, "Does that mean like December 2022?" She was
Oh
like, "No,
yeah,
it
no,
means
that is so
January
confusing.
2022." I was like, "That's too long."
Also like also yeah, it's different. The seasons are different at every publisher. So you actually just have
Yeah,
no idea when someone says,
no idea.
"Oh, this is fall 2022," and it could be like August because
Yeah,
some publishers count that.
it makes no
So yeah, it's
sense.
super
There's like a
weird.
yeah, super weird. These are the things you learn when you become a published author. You're like, what?
I
Came
know,
up with
right?
this.
All right, so what is coming next for you?
Mm. Well, I'm working on a companion novel to this one,
So it's not a
but it will
sequel?
be, it's, I can't call it a sequel. Technically, it's a sequel. My editor's going to kill me. It picks up where this one leaves off, but it's from a different point of view. So a different character entirely. Sort of like if you've read the Illuminae files by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, how it goes from, they have a trilogy and each book is a different point of view. It's sort of like that. So the
Okay.
sequel slash companion novel will be from a different character's point of view. I don't know if I can say, but I feel like if you have
Yeah,
read the
I
book,
hope
you
it's
can
the one
easily
I'm
figure it out.
thinking of.
It's not hard to guess. It's
Yeah.
everybody's favorite side character, so yay.
Oh yes. Yes.
See? So you'll have to read the book to find out. But it's really exciting. We're in the middle of revisions and cleaning it up and getting it nice and pretty. I can tell you it takes place on a different planet with a totally different climate. No more cold, no more snow.
Yeah, you have mentioned it to me before and I'm ready for it.
So Yes,
All right.
it's in
So
process.
yeah. So in this book, who was your favorite character to write?
Well, I guess Senna was the easiest to write. She was just so grumpy,
Mm.
and it was nice and easy. Other characters, I did enjoy writing the bad guy, the gangster, Boss Kalba. He's just awful. And he has like the whole book, the one of the biggest themes and like tropes is like found family. And so Senna is discovering like what this actually means to have a found family after she's lost hers. And then the gangster, Boss Kalba, is kind of this like weird warped version of found family because he believes that everybody that works for him or everybody, like all the wolves that he owns, belong to him, and that's what family means to him. So it was like a fun juxtaposition between the two. So you've got Senna, who's like no family, doesn't understand found family, and then you've got this evil bad guy who's forcing her to help him, who thinks that family belongs to him and he can control them, which you can't control wolves or
Yeah.
dogs most of the time. So so he was really fun to write. And then a lot of Senna goes on to the race with a team of scientists, and they're all very different, like personalities, very much like a motley crew. You have like the main professor who's just determined, and then you have this kind of, she seems spacey doctor, but she knows everything from her books, but she hasn't experienced anything in real life. So she was really fun. And then there's Remy, who becomes Senna's other friend. She actually just sort of forces Senna to be her friend, because that's how Remy rolls. So they were all really fun to write.
And how did you write a strong female protagonist that didn't fall into typical stereotypes?
We should definitely both talk about this question. Funny because personally in my real life, my real life outside books, I own a gym, like a kickboxing gym, and I train people in how to fight. But when I was writing this book, I didn't want to just have a girl who knew how to fight, because I feel like that's often the case in many, not just YA, but in many books. It's always like, oh, this girl can fight, so she's tough. And it's like, well, girls can be tough without knowing how to fight. And so I really wanted to focus on like other sort of strengths. So while Senna does know how to fight, she doesn't really consider it part of her strengths. She doesn't want to fight. She always runs from fights. But her strength comes from like her determination to get through, her ability to figure out how to survive in these very extreme weather, wilderness conditions. So I wanted to showcase that strength doesn't have to be like, I can kick your butt. It's there's so many different facets of what strength can be: strength of mind, strength of emotions, and like trying times. And so that was like one of my big goals in writing this. I wanted to write a protagonist who didn't have to rely on her like physical prowess to be strong.
Oh yeah, I love your tagline. The cold never breaks, neither will she. I
I
love that so much.
wish I could claim that, but that was marketing. They're much better at taglines than me.
No, but I love that tagline. Yeah,
It fits
for
really well.
me, definitely I feel the same because like Zetian, she just straight up like can't fight in her human form at all. Like the only time that
Right.
she has any sort of like physical strength is when she's in a chrysalis, and she only gets to go into a chrysalis at like very controlled times. So usually she
Mm-hmm.
just has like no physical power at all, and she can't overpower anyone the traditional physical way. So she has to like play mind games with people and then just like force them to not kill her. She has to like just survive at all costs by just like doing
Yeah.
stuff other than punching people. Because
Yeah,
I
and she
don't
has to like,
even, yeah, I don't think she
yeah,
punches anyone.
she doesn't need to.
Yeah.
She
No,
uses
it's a
her
big
mind.
regret of mine that she doesn't have a scene where she like holds a dagger against someone's throat. It's very unfortunate. But also I think the entire cast of Iron Widow knows better than to let her near sharp objects.
Yeah, that wouldn't work out so well for them. I loved
Mm.
that about her, though. I loved that she was just like, she could be who she wanted to be all the time. And it didn't matter how strong she was, in the giant mecha or outside of it. She was always Zitian, and she was always ready to just like confront her like enemies head on. And
Yeah.
she had to like manipulate all these parts and moving pieces. And that was just great. Love it. She's my hero.
Oh my god.
It's true. I
We
love them.
support women's rights, but also women's wrongs.
Hey, you do
And
you.
I am not sure if you can say this without getting into spoilers, but what is your favorite scene to write?
What is my favorite scene to write? I liked writing anything where Senna had to like stop and deal with the wolf with Iska. Like anytime where they were stuck in a situation and Iska was there and Senna was wanting to probably do something stupid and Iska was like, we're not gonna do that. I just like the way that they play off of each other and how Iska slowly brings out these like soft spots in Senna and makes her open up and become nicer. So it was just really fun. It was really fun to write their
Yeah,
relationship.
God, I loved Senna's character arc. Uh,
It was hard.
I can't stop
I
thinking about
the
it.
ringer, man. She had some rough times all the way to the end.
I know, right? Just like that end, like good God, like how did she live? Oh, I mean,
I know.
I mean, no spoilers. Whoops.
I don't mind spoiling because people do like get really worried about when animals are like main characters in books because they often get killed. But I can tell you with complete confidence that doesn't happen. So
Okay,
don't
yeah.
be
So,
afraid. I don't
hmm
mind spoiling that ending for people.
oh
The
really?
wolf
Okay,
lives.
the wolf doesn't die. The wolf
The
doesn't
wolf
die.
doesn't die.
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
Okay.
People
And
were
I
scared. I
think
was like,
really, oh yeah. But
I wouldn't do
yeah,
that.
so I think we are out of our questions. So let's see the audience questions. All right. How do we do this?
I think we click on ask a question. Oh, there they are.
Do we? No.
Did you see it? I can see it.
I see it, but okay, I think I'm doing this one. Oh, never mind. So what can you tell us about what you are currently working on, Meg?
Well, we talked about that. I don't know what I can tell you, but I can tell you that it's exciting. Oh, and
Right.
there's going to
Any
be,
other projects?
I have some other, I hate to talk about them because what if they like fizzle out? I had some
Oh,
issues writing
right.
during the
Yeah.
pandemic where things just didn't pan out. But I have lots of ideas for science fantasy sort of infused big epic stories, hopefully. Hopefully I
Hell
can pull it
yeah.
off.
And me, I am just
Yeah.
working on the Iron Widow sequel. I am super late on
Oh,
my deadline for it, but I'm
I'm
going
so
at it.
excited.
I'm going. Hopefully it's good. So,
Feel free to
what
send that to me
are?
when you're ready.
Oh yes, I definitely will. And what are we currently reading, Meg?
What am I reading? I am
Yeah.
reading adult fantasy right now. It's a series. The first one is called, what, oh my God, of course now I'm blanking. It's by EJ Mello. It's sort of like in the vein of For the Wolf. So it's like a big fantasy world. There's a lot of magic. Hang on, I'm gonna have to look up the title because I'm a disaster. I'm also slightly dyslexic and ADHD, so I tend to forget things really easily. Please don't judge me. Song of the Forever Rains. There it is by EJ
Oh, that's
Mello.
a nice
It's
title.
fantastic. Ooh, the cover's really pretty too. It's really great. Just a really interesting like magical world building that's totally different. There's like the secret hidden thief kingdom and these three sisters. This is my favorite part about it. These three sisters that have this really awesome relationship and they all sort of act like Wednesday Addams towards each other and
What?
it's just great. There's lots of violence and references to violence amongst them, but they really love each other and it's this great bond. It's fantastic. I highly recommend. What are you
No,
reading?
actually, Senna gives me like kind of Wednesday Adam vibes too. Like kind of.
She's just grumpy.
I think
She's
it's just the
very grumpy.
cynicism. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, she has no time for like sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah. Well, is there ever
It's not her.
sunshine on Tundar?
Yeah, it's not her fault. That's just her world.
Yeah, so I'm reading a bunch
Yes.
of arcs for blurbing purposes, and the one I'm currently
Ooh.
reading is "The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea." It's it's a
XEO.
it's a retelling of a Korean folklore about like this sea god who like demands brides every year, and And then this one girl like offers herself up as a bride in place of like this other bride who was supposed to be there. And it's really beautiful so far. I've just started, but yeah, I can't wait for it to be released. And
I'm
the
excited about that
previous
one.
few arcs I've read were a bunch of MG arcs. And MG this year is going to be so lit. I've read Theo Tan and the Fox Spirit, which is super cute. And there's also on Yeka and the Academy of the Sun. This is like Black Panther
I've seen
meets
that cover.
X-Men. So it is also, this is super good. It was super fun, and I cannot wait for this to be released. Yeah,
I love that
MG
cover.
is, it's gonna be so lit. And then next, how do you handle aspiring writers who don't have the talent? You know, like those singers on American Idol that can't sing. Well, I don't think we like really did any handling except just like pass on their books from our manuscript pile. I guess this question is directed toward like us during when we were co-mentors in Pitch Wars. And yeah, I don't really think that we can do anything for them except to just reject their manuscripts. I mean, honestly, because like we have very very limited energy, and then we had to save all of that for a one mentee who was like close to there. And honestly, her writing was so beautiful, and then we like really just helped her as best as we could. And yeah, I definitely do remember being like one of those like baby writers who like thought I was good but was not good. And I think, yeah, honestly, you can't really do anything for them but wait for like the rejections to slap them awake. Like I got slapped awake when like I struggled for years to find an agent.
Yeah. And everybody's at different levels. Like you can't, there's no I'm better than you. It's just we're at different levels of like our writing skills. And so when some people send in their submissions, they're just kind of at the beginning. And it doesn't mean that they're, don't have talent. It just means they haven't learned enough yet to really like foster what their ideas are into like nicely written stories. And everybody get there if you just keep trying. Don't quit. And eventually the more you learn, the higher up your level goes. And then, you get more attention, I guess.
Yeah, Meg, how many years did it take you? How many
I've been
years did
writing
it take
since
you?
2014. I think I did the math the other day, and this was like 8 years. 8. It's more than a college degree. It's 2 college degrees.
Yeah,
So.
I think I am pretty much the same. So yes, once you start writing, it takes you approximately 8 years on average 8 years to actually get published.
Could be more, could be less.
Yeah. But definitely, I don't regret all the effort that I put into it. And I also think that even though I wished at the time that the manuscripts I wrote could have been published, definitely I don't want them to be published now. Like, because those were not ready. Yeah.
Those were not
if I were published any earlier, I would not have been ready for like the entire publishing experience. So while it took a long time, I don't regret all the time that I put into it.
No, I mean, you have to learn how to like revise and how to accept criticism and how to learn what criticism is good for you and what is like, there's a lot to learn. So keep writing, aspiring writers.
Yes, and definitely you do need to grow thick skin, because like if you surround yourself with people who like coddle you and don't actually give you constructive criticism, eventually the industry rejections will just slap you in the face.
Publishing's not anytime that you are creating art, there's always going to be people who don't like it. And if you can't like look past that to the next project or continuing your project, it's going to be a hard road. So yes, you have to get thick skin.
Yeah, I have definitely spent like 4 years or something just waking up to rejections every day in my inbox. We've been there. Yeah. All right, and do we have any other hobbies other than writing that we enjoy? Is watching anime a hobby?
Yes. Is playing video games a hobby? Yes. I play a lot of video games. Well, that's not true. I play like the same video game over and over again. Right now it's Animal Crossing. It's ridiculous, but I love Tomb Raider and Mass Effect, and I'll just replay them.
Oh my god, yes, Tomb Raider!
Literally my favorite game.
You were working on a project that had Tomb Raider as a co-op, weren't you?
Still working on it.
Okay, hopefully.
Hopefully it's gonna happen. My other hobbies, obviously, I run a gym with my boyfriend, and we teach people how to punch other people in the face correctly. So that's all the time I have. Writing, my job, Animal Crossing, and my gym.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, is Chinese history a hobby? I don't know. I
Yes.
love to go down just like very deep rabbit holes of history. And I would like to say that I like to cook as a hobby, but recently I have not had that much energy. So, but I do like cooking, especially like vegan cooking because it forces you to be super creative. And yes, so I suppose that counts as a hobby. But yes, I should definitely get out more. Like, oh yeah, Meg, how has your gym been running during the pandemic?
Well, we got really lucky. I mean, we didn't open for like 3 months, 4 months. I think it was April of 2020. And then we were able to operate with masks for a really long time and just like limited capacity. And
Mm,
so where I am in Denver right now, there's like a voluntary mask mandate for unvaccinated people, I think. I don't. So if people are vaccinated and feeling good, they can come in and train. And if they're not vaccinated, they have to wear masks. So
okay,
it's been fun.
that's good. That's good. All right, the next question: if you could write a story for an anime world, what would be your dream project? Hmm.
I don't know, maybe something in Cowboy Bebop. I love Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, definitely. Like, what if Tundar was just one of the planets
I know,
in
right?
Cowboy Bebop? This actually just takes place in the Cowboy Bebop universe.
As I was writing it, I was like, I was watching Cowboy Bebop a lot, and I was like, I need to make my characters eat more because Spike eats in like every other scene. Just like,
And the food is
what
always
are my
like really
characters doing?
well rendered.
Yeah, yes, he's always like eating these delicious looking noodles. I'm like, dang, I'm hungry.
Yeah, have you seen the Netflix adaptation?
I started to watch it, but I haven't finished it yet.
Uh,
It's very colorful. I wasn't sure about
mm,
it. I don't know. It's hard. I'm a hard sell on that.
yes.
You
For
know.
me, of course, the obvious answer is I would love to write a Yu-Gi-Oh series, except I can't actually wrap my head around the card games. Like I know I watch Yu-Gi-Oh, but I don't get the card games. Like literally, I don't understand what's happening. Whenever they start playing the cards, I zone out because I can't pay attention to their moves. And then people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he did this when he had this in his hand." And I'm like, "How do you know these things? How do you pay attention?" But yeah, I don't know like what's up with me. I'm in love. I'm obsessed with this franchise, but I don't actually get like the core thing of what they're doing. I'm like one of those side characters who like are in the attendance of every single duel, but then you ask them, "Oh, what do you think is happening in this duel? Like, what is he gonna do next?" I'd be like, "I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just here to watch them like be dramatic with their monsters. I don't know.
It's
I don't
like
understand
poses.
this game." Yeah, I know.
Just here for
So
the
I don't think
poses,
I
okay?
could actually write. I don't think I could actually write a Yu-Gi-Oh well because I don't understand the fundamental mechanics of how this card game works.
Oh,
And other than that, this isn't an anime, but I would love to write something for Ultraman, which is it's
ooh,
tokusatsu and not
Ultraman would
anime,
be
but it's very
awesome.
like anime adjacent. It's also very nerdy. And yeah, it has I love the way they do space opera. So I would love to write an Ultraman series. Like for me, it's like Headcat and then Iron Widow is in the Ultraman world, just like Nebula
Oh, I could see
M78.
that.
It's off in the galaxy somewhere.
I could see that. I would watch that.
There are no rules.
Also.
Actually, okay, Yu-Gi-Oh does have rules, but I just don't understand them.
Okay, but there's no rules in like Dragon Ball. I feel I watched Dragon. Okay, the only reason I watched Dragon Ball Z is because it was on before Sailor Moon or after Sailor Moon when I was a kid.
Oh
So like
yeah,
I'd watch Sailor Moon. I'm like, I guess I'll watch Dragon Ball. So I don't know
yeah,
how it works either. It doesn't seem like
yeah.
there's any
Like
rules there.
you literally can't even like describe Dragon Ball Z, like what it's about, to a
What
random
is it
person who,
about?
like, how do you like what is the synopsis of Dragon Ball? Just like
They
buff
they
men
turn
yelling at each
blonde.
other?
They
Yeah.
turn blonde and they go Super Saiyan mode, and that's like all you need to know.
Yes, but like, what if they don't even know what a Super Saiyan is? Just like, how do you describe this anime to people? It's
It's
just,
like
I
beast
feel like
mode.
Dragon Ball is very like, it's all about vibes.
It's true.
Yeah, it's
It's
all
really
vibes.
true.
It's like buff men beating each other up, getting really dramatic. I feel like you know how like RuPaul's Drag Race and like drag queens just like completely dramatize femininity. I feel like stuff like Dragon Ball Z is like completely dramatizes masculinity. So if you think about like drag kings, I feel like drag kings should just go toward like Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is drag king behavior. It's just
Super
like
obsessed.
completely dramatized
Sure, I mean, what else would you call
masculinity.
Super Saiyan? Like they just go
I know,
like
right?
hyper beast mode. Like
I know.
yeah,
Ultra instinct. It's true. Okay, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is also super like hyper masculinity, dramatic,
I haven't seen
flamboyant,
that one.
like,
Is it?
and the same case with Yu-Gi-Oh too. I feel like, yeah, if you make yourself into a drag king, you should just like wear a dramatic, gigantic trench coat that's like flares behind you, and then you like laugh like ha 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 at everything. And
I think
yes,
that's
you
why I
you
like
take
Sailor
like
Moon.
3 poses to press a key. It's
I do
great.
like the poses.
Hmm.
I think that's why I like Sailor Moon is because it's like ultra femme energy.
Yes,
Everybody's
definitely.
just like ridiculous in that show. It's so great.
Yeah, I love that for you. Like first you watch Sailor Moon, and then Dragon Ball Z comes up right next, and it's like suddenly it swings to like hyper mask energy.
A lot of a lot of extremes happening on my couch when I was 14.
Oh yeah, but it's so good because like it really just
So
taps
good.
into like just making things as dramatic as possible.
Yes,
And
and
someone
ridiculous.
said this to me, and I found it super fascinating. They were like, "Oh yeah, I could definitely feel the cartoon influence on Iron Widow because like the scenes are so like you take the drama up to such extremes."
But in such a
Yeah,
good way because it's so readable. I love it.
yeah. People have said that to me, which I find super fascinating. Especially like people with ADHD. They tell me, "Oh yeah,
Mm,
despite like being in a reading slump, I just read this book in like 3 hours," which I'm baffled by. Like how it's so
that's
big,
fast.
it's 400 pages. How did you read that in 3 hours?
Wish I could read that fast.
I know,
I can
right?
read fast, but then I just miss all the details. But like, and I have ADHD, and so like when I'm reading, a lot of times I'll skip over descriptive paragraphs because I don't care. I'll just imagine it in my head however I want. But like when you have the writing style, like what I do and what you do, like I pay attention because I'm like, oh, this is like short and easy, and I need to know what it looks like because I have no idea what the heck else is going on here, and this is
Oh yeah.
wild and so it just it works really well.
Yeah, and do you feel that
That
you
anime.
read differently after becoming an author?
Sometimes I think if I can't get into a book, I start to try and figure out why. But then sometimes I tend to analyze movies a lot more because they're just easier, they're shorter, less content to like digest in my brain.
Hmm.
And when I read, I feel like I just want to like not think about anything and just read the story. So it really just
Really?
depends on like what the book is. Yeah, but I can't turn it off when I'm watching movies or TV series. I'm like, ooh, this is the midpoint. Ooh, I wonder what they're gonna do with the character
Oh,
arc
really? I'm the
next.
exact opposite. Nowadays, I can
Really?
like watch movies and TV shows, especially TV shows. I just turn my like critical brain off. But like reading books now, I read super slow. I cannot miss like the
Do
nuance
you?
in any sentence. Yeah, I am always just
Mm,
studying like what's happening in the prose and the description. I'm like, oh yeah. Like I can't let
that's
myself miss a
amazing.
single sentence now, which is why I read super slow. But yeah, I cannot binge read anymore because I have to study everything that the author is doing.
I should probably read like that. That's probably
I don't know. I
smart.
wish I could read faster, but no, I can't bring myself to miss any of like the literary techniques being used. I'm just like, oh, what's happening
Beautiful
here? Oh, that's what they're doing
descriptions.
in this paragraph. Yeah.
It is
So
nice
that's
when you
me
find
with
great.
books now.
Yeah, so crazy. We're the
And
opposite.
next question. One thing I'm always fascinated by is how sci-fi and fantasy authors come up with names for things and people. Were they a part of the book all along, or did you agonize over them in any way?
So my names are I took a bunch of snowy sort of like ice areas of the planet and just started looking at names. So like Norway, Sweden, Russia, Finland, Mongolia, anywhere where it was cold, I was like, I'm just gonna like grab.
Oh my
Because it's not
god.
based on one culture, because it's very sci-fi and it's just it's way past our time on Earth. There's no like country nationality anymore or anything like that. So I wanted it to feel like it was international in that regard. So you might see like a bunch of random Swedish names. I also took names from like the Legend of Balto, like the actual like sled racers. So if you pay attention, you can find those. They're like Easter eggs. But then you might get like a random sort of East Russian Mongolian type name. So I try not to agonize. I try and like pick a name and then go with it.
That's valid. And yeah, for me, I just straight up like all my characters are named after historical figures. I didn't even
Yep.
change them. Some people are like, "You didn't even change the names," and
Nope.
I was just like, "No, I didn't." No, just because if I were writing for a Chinese audience, then I would have changed the names because they would have been way
Right.
too familiar with the historical
Yeah, I would have
figures.
known. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm writing for a Western audience, so I was like, you know what? So few people even know who Li Shiming is. So, and Li
Yeah.
Shiming is an epic name.
Yeah.
I literally can't think of anything else to call him. He's just Li Shiming, and so
Right.
I just put the original names in because I wanted all Western audiences to become familiar with those names, and
Yeah,
it
and
was fun.
they wouldn't have any like associations with them at all. So now they get to make this association with them, which is pretty cool too.
Yeah. So yes, if you Google like any character name in my book, then you're gonna find like an entire Wikipedia page, and then you might be able to spot the Easter eggs that I dropped in for them. But yeah, that's what I did. It's just I thought it would be funny
It's
because
awesome.
yeah, I am actually not that creative of a person. It's very hard for me to spin things out of thin air, so that's why I take so much inspiration from history because you can do that and nobody can copyright strike you because they
It's true.
did.
I mean, that's probably why I used a whole race that exists. And how can you can't copyright the Iditarod race? So
Yeah,
it's in my book.
because
It's fine.
it doesn't seem like you're the type who can just like come up with random fantasy names either, are you? Because you
Really
have
can't.
to like take them from an existing
I gotta get them
source.
from somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or I'll take a
and
name and then like play with the letters.
mhm,
That's my creative contribution.
yeah.
Rearranging the consonants.
Yeah, no, I can't be like those fantasy authors who just like make up a name and there's like an apostrophe in there. Like, no, I can't be. I also cannot fathom people who make up whole fantasy languages. Like, that's creativity that's beyond me.
It's wild. Blows my
Yeah.
mind.
And
I wish.
something that's really funny to me though is that whenever you're coming up with a title for a fantasy or sci-fi book, you have to Google it, and then chances are it's either a bad name or the name of a Yu-Gi-Oh card. It happens to me so many times. Just like I Google it and I'm like, oh god, it's
Trying
a
to name
Yu-Gi-Oh
your
card.
book.
What? Yeah.
I
And
do
Iron
Google
Widow,
titles that I come up with.
yeah. Iron Widow, it's the name of a MCU ship. It's Tony Stark and Natasha Romanoff.
It's true. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I wish that I could have known about this earlier. So I did Google it, but I think I was like, you know what, Iron Widow is too perfect. I can't change this now.
That's a perfect
So
name.
yes, it is. I do feel bad for how my book tag is interfering with the actual Iron Widow shippers, but I commissioned a parody of it. So I was like, you know what, Iron Widow shippers, come look at my book, maybe.
You just get smart writers. It'll be fine.
Yeah. And next question. If you get a chance to be isekai'd into an anime world, which anime would you choose? Sailor Moon, hands down.
Hands down.
I don't want to be
Most
anywhere
worlds would
else.
be in.
Literally,
No.
there is no other anime world that I would want to be in. Like, you would
No.
think that I would want to be in the Yu-Gi-Oh world, but again, I don't understand this game. I would die in Yu-Gi-Oh because I can't play the card game. I would be useless. It'll be
It's
like
true.
having no superpowers in a world where everyone has superpowers. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Pokemon
right?
is also pretty wholesome. So yes, I would want to be in a wholesome world like Pokemon or Sailor Moon. I would not
Yeah,
want to
where
be
love
like
wins.
I wouldn't want to be in the Iron Widow world, not the Attack on
No,
Titan world, not the Dragon Ball Z world. Just like no, thank you.
no, no.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Cardcaptor
Classic.
Sakura. Yes.
Classic.
Yes.
Sure. I love Sailor Moon because they get to wear ridiculous costumes and fight enemies also in ridiculous costumes. And then,
Yes.
if their powers don't do it, then the power of love and friendship will. That's the world I want to live
Yes.
in.
Yes, I want my own Sailor Moon transformation sequence.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
You
please.
should do that. But like into like
Yeah.
a Sitian outfit.
Oh my god. If only. Maybe I could like make a TikTok out of that. Well, I'm pretty sure I
That's
made a
wild.
TikTok of me like doing a Sailor Moon transformation,
Mm,
but it's one of my old TikToks. You have to dig for it.
I want that.
So yes, we would only like to be isekai'd into wholesome animes. And do either of you see yourselves revisiting earlier stories you wrote and maybe repurposing them for publication in the future?
It's a hard question. I mean,
Mm,
there was great themes in some of my earlier books, but like as they exist right now, oh, I don't know. I don't know if they'd be sellable. That's a lot of the problems you have when you're a baby writer is like, oh, I want to do this idea and this at this setting at this like age level, and then you find out like my first book was set at a college, and it's like, oh, there's no market for new adult anymore, and I was like, oh,
that is
okay,
tragic, it's so tragic. Because
so
I feel like a
tragic,
lot of people are thirsting for like college age protagonist
right?
things. And like
Maybe,
not yeah, somewhere between YA and like adult fantasy. But yeah, plenty of people want that.
right. So I don't know. Maybe in the future I will look at it again. I don't know. I haven't read it in like 5 years. So what about
I
you?
know. For me, oh, I didn't tell you this yet, but my Pitch Wars manuscript actually sold in another format, so I can't say anything. I'll talk to you. I'll tell you this on Facebook Messenger later. But yeah, it actually sold as something different, like not as how it originally was, but it sold as something different.
Oh, I'm excited to hear about
So
this.
yes, it will
Sorry,
come into the
audience. You
world
don't get the
in
deets.
another form. Yes, I don't know when I'll get to announce this. I also don't know when I'll get to announce how many books there will be in Iron Widow, because let me just say there is a reason that it's called the Iron Widow series and not the Iron Widow duology anymore. But yes,
Hmm.
these are things that I don't know if I can announce yet. So,
It's okay. We
but
won't tell.
definitely my Pitch Wars book is the oldest book that I will go back to. The ones I wrote before, definitely never again. those were the ramblings of nonsensical like worlds and stories of a baby writer.
It's true. I
Mhm.
understand.
And if your projects get adaptations, what medium would you prefer them in? Animated or live action? Hmm.
I If I could do live action for Cold the Night, I would, as long as the wolf is not CGI.
Oh
I can't have
yes.
I don't want a CGI wolf. Like unless it looked real good. Like Marvel, level good. But I would really prefer a real animal. So I wouldn't mind either way. I would love it. I think anime would be super cool.
Oh, would it be like a husky that's dyed red?
There are red huskies. If you follow me on Instagram,
Really?
sometimes I repost them. Yeah, there's a bunch
Ooh,
of
oh
there's a
yeah.
bunch of them. And there's like red wolves. And if you look, it's funny because I kind of like based my wolf. It's called a Vonin wolf on like two different animals, like a traditional sort of wolf, and then this animal called a dhole that exists in like India and Africa. And it's like this red dog, and it's like super red. And it has like the
Yo.
ears are less pointy and more round, and they're really cute.
Oh
So I
my
kind of
gosh, that sounds so
imagine
cute.
Iska as like a combination of these two. I'll post pictures on Instagram later this week so you can see what that would look like. But yes, there are red huskies and
Yes.
wolves.
Yeah, I think this would work really good as a live action. Oh my god. The
Yeah.
editors had to CGI the wolf's tails because they were wagging the whole time. Aww.
Well, they would have to CGI Iska's tail out anyway, because as a fighting wolf, she would have had her tail docked, which is really
Mm.
sad, but a true fact.
Aw.
That's why her
And
tail is like
me,
tiny on this book cover.
yeah, for
Okay, sorry.
me, again, I don't know if I can say anything because actually my adaptation rights have sold. So I'll tell you later on Facebook.
Sorry, y'all. I
Yeah,
get the dates.
yeah. I have so much stuff that I can't say. Just goddamn, this publishing makes me be so secretive when I'm really bad at
Silly.
keeping secrets.
Dang that publishers.
I know, right?
It's for no reason.
Well, perfect. I'm glad that worked out, that we are just about out of time and all the questions are answered. Hallelujah. Good job, everyone.
Woo!
All right.
Go team.
Before we officially end this, where can people find you on the social medias? Obviously, you have a big YouTube, Xiran, so and I know you have other stuff, so announce them.
Yeah, I am Xiran Jay Zhao on just Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, just on the same name everywhere.
I typed it in the chat. Mine is Hey, it's Meg with 3 E's.
I love that. I love that so much. Just like,
That's how I type.
yeah, it's right here in like your copy, and that just made me laugh. Just like I love it so much.
It's
Hey, it's
literally how I
me.
type everything in messages. I'm like 400 East, 400 A's.
That is so fun. Well, thank you so much for the both of you coming and doing this. This is wonderful, and I love how it just evolved into a long anime discussion. I went down memory lane with anime. That's why I love these events. For everyone that was tuning in, thank you so much for stopping by. If you missed this, this will be replayable on our Crowdcast as well as our own YouTube channel. So we will upload this shortly. If you haven't already, you can go. If you haven't already, you can go to buy books and get signed book plates, because both our wonderful authors are going to be doing signed or personalized book plates. So just make sure in the comments section, put if you want personalization or just signed only. Otherwise, I will see you all at the next Mysterious Galaxy event. I hope everyone has a great night. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Congrats again, Meg. Woo!
Yay.
Published authors.